So this is interesting. So Steve Kerr is going to coach some USA basketball, and Kevin Durant's going to play for it, apparently. And, Steve Kerr played with Michael Jordan, the best player in most eyes in the history of basketball. We can argue about he and LeBron Magic, whatever. Just for the time being, for the argument, MJ's the best player ever, and it's certainly a legitimate argument. And Steve Kerr played with him for years, and he also coached KD. And I do think what he says is accurate here. Here's the tape.
I think he's more gifted. I really do. I mean, that's saying something, but Kevin is entirely different breed. I mean, 6'11", with guard skills, unlimited three-point range, passing, shot blocking at the rim. It's just stunning. And watching him this year was really, really gratifying.
I think KD is more gifted than Michael Jordan. I also think Wilt was more gifted than Bill Russell and Kareem. They were just better centers. Certainly Kareem was. I think Westbrook is more gifted than Chris Paul. Chris Paul's a better player. I think Dominique Wilkins is more gifted than almost everybody that he played with. Karl Malone, Larry Bird. But I think Karl Malone and Larry Bird were better players. On the all-gifted team, Westbrook and Wilt, KD, Dominique, T-Mac, Shaq, gifted is not what becomes GOAT. And it really points out something that's important, the relentlessness, the obsessiveness of Kobe and Michael and Montana and Peyton Manning and Brady and Jeter. We don't talk about Jeter like that, but Derek may have been single in New York, but his focus and drive and willfulness is legendary around Yankee circles, is that it's not just talent. And I'll give you a great example. So much of sports is really formed by your personality. So Michael had brothers, and brothers pick on each other. I didn't have the classic brother. I had a sister. So I'm more finesse. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Michael grew up with brothers who beat up on him, picked on him, scored on him. And that there's a value in that. When you go and look at the UFC and look at the tough guys and boxers, they often grew up with brothers. And they're banging on each other in the yard and fighting over pizza and fighting over the bicycle and fighting over the skateboard and fighting. And that creates this toughness. Michael came into the league and he inherited a guy named Orlando Woolridge. Now, I want you to think about this. Orlando Woolridge was Russell Westbrook if Westbrook was a 3, not a 2. Woolridge, like Westbrook, was hyper-athletic, 20-plus a game. Really well-liked by players. Ripped, cut, looked like a bodybuilder. Hyper-athletic, alley-oop, slam dunk champ. He was Westbrook as a 3. Not a gifted shooter, but a great scorer and a great athlete. And when Michael inherited him the first year, they averaged almost the same. What did Michael do? Bulldozed him. Ran over him. Took him on at practice. Any chance he got. And Woolridge was a good guy. Woolridge confronted him, went after him, and got him out of town. Kevin Durant had Westbrook. Durant was way better than Westbrook the first year they played together. Durant averaged 25, Westbrook 15. There was no question who the better player was. You knew Michael was better than Orlando Woolridge, but initially, Woolridge was giving you like 23 a night. He was a slam dunk champ. What did KD do? What KD always does. He grumbled a little here. He wasn't happy with it, but he never confronted it. He didn't go after Westbrook at practice. He didn't confront him. He didn't confront the coach. He went and asked Sam Presti, give me more love. He got mad at the newspaper that said he was unreliable. If KD was Michael, he'd be in Oklahoma City. He would have gone right after Westbrook, moved him out of town because Westbrook's hard to play with, and Orlando Woolridge, a great player, could be hard to play with. I mean, he was one of these guys. He was a volume guy. He was hyper-athletic, played a certain way. Michael just moved him. Let's get him out. And KD doesn't have that personality. If there's issues, he leaves. Golden State, Steph, Draymond issues, he leaves. And I believe Kevin Durant is on the all-gifted team with Wilt Chamberlain, Tracy McGrady. It's just like they can do things nobody else can do. I think Steve Kerr's being totally honest. I don't think we've ever seen anything like him. But both of them, very early in their careers, had a hyper-athletic, strong, muscular, vertical, alley-oopy, unbelievable talent. And Michael made sure it was very clear This is my city. This is my locker room. This is my team. That's just Michael's personality. And the Bulls moved off from Orlando Woolridge very quickly. In fact, Michael even broke a leg, didn't even play for a while. And they still made sure they got him out of town. And it wasn't because Woolridge couldn't play or Woolridge was a bad guy. That's the difference. Michael confronted coaches, issues, barriers, GMs, everybody. He used to mock the general manager. He would mock Jerry Krause. People say he's mean. Let me tell you something. NBA players got a very short shelf life. You got to go right after what you want. I mean, Kobe said in Los Angeles, I'm going to Chicago. Get me a player. Shaq left. Get me a player. I'm out of here. They got him Pau Gasol. And that's not Kevin's personality. And that doesn't mean he's a bad person. But when Steve Kerr says he's more gifted, he is more gifted than MJ. I've told you the story. Mark Few coached Gonzaga, was on this USA basketball team a few years ago, and went to the practices. And I just asked him about KD, and he's like, Colin, it's the best basketball players in the world. And KD was unstoppable. You could defend Westbrook or defend Kyrie, or you could defend everybody, kind of. You can't defend KD. I mean, Michael Jordan didn't have KD's range. I'm not sure he handled the ball that much better. Wasn't it long? KD does everything. But it goes to show that it's beyond that. It's not just talent. It's a focus, a drive, a relentlessness. You can't be passive-aggressive. That's the difference between Brady and Aaron Rodgers. One's a little more passive-aggressive. One's confrontational. So much of life in sports is above the shoulders. Because KD's smart. We know that. That's not the issue. But Michael, growing up with brothers, tough, picked on him a little bit. He went through that, and Michael comes out as resilient, as tough, as feisty, as nasty, and that is a huge, it's not even like it's not Michael's athletic ability. That defines Michael. That when I think of Michael, the word I think of is relentless. It's not talented. It's not gifted. When I think of KD, those are the words I think of.